Hi everyone, and welcome to another Cyber Lounge webinar. I'm joined here today with Jordan. Hi Jordan.
Hello everyone.
So today is a really interesting one. It's something we've never done on the Cyber Lounge before, quite unique. We're going to be doing a live deepfake and discussing some of the cyber risks of deepfakes, because obviously that's going to become huge over the next couple of years, if not already. Jordan, why don't you go into a little bit about what we're going to be talking about today?
Certainly. So hi, my name is Jordan Schroeder. I'm managing CISO at Barrier Networks. And one of the things that pops up every once in a while is, the threat of deepfakes. And so one of the things I want to talk about today is what are the realities there? What are the things that can happen? What has happened in the past? How has deepfakes been leveraged to do, awful things in the cybersecurity realm? And I want to walk you through a little bit of history of the deepfakes and what's happened and where we've been, where we are right now, as in this week, where we are, and then where I see things going, like what the next step is, and a bit of a surprising thought and a surprising source of inspiration for where deepfakes can go and where we can take it and do some really, really cool things technically, but will be very, very difficult for cyber defenders to try and prepare for and defend against, and to prepare our staff, right? To prepare everybody for, so that they know what to do and they're not going to get bit by criminals trying to use deepfake technology and what's going to come next. In their own organizations, protect themselves, protect their companies. And so that's what I want to talk about today. I want to talk about the past, I want to talk about the present, the cutting edge present, and I want to talk about the future as well.
Awesome. Really looking forward to it. Just a quick note to everyone in the audience. Please introduce yourself in the comments. Get ready. Any questions you have for Jordan, we'll be asking them throughout. And other than that, I think enjoy, everyone.
Okay. So am I just going now on this?
Yeah, go ahead.
All right. So what I have for you today, I'm fair warning to everybody, and I've got a lot of things going on my end. I've got so much technology happening, and it's all duct taped together, and a lot of it's happening at once. A normal person doing a deepfake wouldn't be doing all of these different things all at once. So please grant me some grace, because there's going to be some technical difficulties. Already I ran into one this morning. So just a lot of grace in this, please, and we'll make sure I can make up for that as we go. So what are we talking about in deepfakes when it comes to cybersecurity? We've already seen probably the videos, right? We've seen the videos of, Bruce Willis and Tom Cruise, where people have taken their face, right, or impersonators, right, and they've taken their face and their video, they've taken videos and images of these other celebrities, and they've used artificial intelligence networks to stitch another face onto their own. Now, this works really, really well to when you're dealing with pre-recorded video. Right. It's very easy. It's a lot simpler to try and do this when it's pre-recorded video, because the artificial intelligence network that needs to work on this needs to do this in layers and iterations. It needs to do tens of thousands of different attempts as it goes in order to make it look as real as it can. And we're still at the beginning of a lot of this technology. Now, there is a famous scene in The Mandalorian. No spoilers. Famous scene in The Mandalorian where there's a face is overlaid over someone else's face, and it's all cool, it's amazing, and wow, it's amazing that can happen. But when we're talking about high definition pre-recorded video, even now, even the cutting edge, we can still see that it's not quite right. Right? It's not quite there. We've seen this in movies, and it's cool. It's almost there, but it's not quite there. So what we've seen in the past in terms of cybersecurity, even with the technology we have in our hands today, is pre-recorded video where someone else's face is stitched on, and you can imagine the types of things you could do. You could have the CEO of a company, right? standing up at a podium and explaining, we're so sorry, we're so tired of living a lie, and we're afraid of prosecution. We've all been embezzling from the company, millions and millions of dollars over a decade, and we're now just shutting down the company because we're just in too much criminal trouble. And you should imagine what it would do to the stock price to a company, even if it's just for a day or two while this massive confusion comes in. You have this source of massive misinformation that you could then use by using deepfakes. You can also do this with audio. And a couple of years ago, 2019, there is an instance where a company had their CEO's voice was captured from various online sources. And their voice was stitched together to create a sentence that the CEO had never said. And then the criminals called up the finance department and basically had asked the finance department to transfer money into an account. So this is, if you're familiar with business email compromise attacks, this is where you spoof an email and you have an email coming into like a finance department saying, can you please buy this, do this? Can you please send money over to this other account? That's effective enough, right? And that's a huge scourge in businesses right now. But to take it that next step to it's no longer email, it's now voice coming in, right? And how do you validate that voice if it sounds all right? And you can get around some of the other issues that you have around quality, right? It might not sound quite right just by adding in extra noise. You can add in fake, traffic noise or cafe noise, and that would help to cover up some of the other issues. But this becomes a massive problem because, you've got an inability to trust your own eyes, right? With an email, you can look at headers, you can look at logs, you can look at all these other things that you can manage with an email. But when you're dealing with audio, when you're dealing with video, how can you trust your eyes? With pre-recorded video, you have an inherent barrier. You have an inherent impediment to being able to be successful, and it has to be pre-recorded. My interest, and what I'm going to show you today, isn't pre-recorded video, but live. What happens if you can live change faces? What happens if you can change the way things look and make it very, very dynamic? And where are we now on that? So this is what I want to talk about. Because as you can imagine, Mafus, yes, email spoofing isn't bad enough. Now voice spoofing, yes, absolutely. But what we're looking at now is I can compromise a CEO's account, and then call up the finance department on Teams with a video chat, just like this. Right. But now I look like the CEO or CFO, and it's coming from their account because I compromised their account. And I've got video and audio asking them to now transfer funds over, or I'm contacting the IT department and says, hey, we have this external contractor that needs domain admin access. Can you please create a domain admin account for this third-party contractor because he needs to work for us today, and it's a short-term contract, blah, 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 excuse. Whatever you want to be able to command somebody to do now becomes a bigger threat. Okay, so this can be big. And I'm going to talk about some of the defenses we can do based on today's technology and some of the things that you can make sure that you can validate, whether or not it's a deepfake or not. But Adam, should I just jump in and start morphing my face around?
Yeah, I'll give you the stage.
All right. So like I said, I'm going to show you a bunch of different styles and a bunch of different techniques. And this first technique, I'm going to go sort of through history. This first technique that I'm going to show you is really old. Let's call this, version, 1.0 or version 0.1. This is the initial thing that became possible pretty early on in terms of live video. We're not talking about the pre-recorded stuff, right? My interest in, and what I'm going to talk about today, is what we can do live, how we can manipulate things live. And so what I'm going to do through all of these presentations and all of these options is I'm going to keep myself in this little box here, so you can see that it's me And you can then start to see my face and my gestures and how it maps over. So if I can set this up here, just gotta, there we go. Oh, let's put this in. I'm doing this live in front of you all, so it's please excuses that everything's not all pre-configured just out of the box. All right. So one of the things that we did in, oh, that's much better. One of the things that we did with Barrier is that we had, oh, that's not going. Come on. Oh, wrong one. There we go. We had someone who, a member of parliament who was joining us for a live event. And he was because he was a member of parliament, there were obviously quite a lot of photos of this person. So what I did while we was doing this virtual event is I grabbed his photo and I ran it through my artificial intelligence learning engine so that it could then start mapping my face to his. So this is what I call, version 1, and this has actually been available for quite a while. And we're starting to see apps now that can take old photographs and can animate them. So it looks like your deceased loved one or your grandparents or someone from history is alive, right? So what we're doing is we're simply animating the existing photo, right? And as long as I don't move too much, you notice that I've suddenly became not very animated and not moving around a lot. As long as I'm not moving around too much, it actually kind of works. I can wiggle my eyebrows. Obviously, I can move my mouth. I can even have a little bit of head tilt, not too much. The problem that we have, I can even wink, kind of, right? The problem that we have is that it's bound by the constraints of the original photo. So if I do something like turn my head, you start to see that the computer really doesn't know what to do with all of that. So you've got all of this capability in our hands, right? And we can push this, and this is already really, really interesting. And we could go through and improve this program, increase the resolution, and increase the ability to map the photo to my face. Now that we've gone this far, now that we've gone here, we can go even further. So I took a coworker of mine, and I took his company profile photo, and I also could animate him. And, then I'll be back. Or I can jump really high. Or, I'm a wizard. And I can just simply use this program to do all kinds of crazy things and present myself very, very differently to the world. Now, I'm going to take this up just one small step further. All the pictures that we have here so far are known photographs that are on the internet or they're famous. What if I take this further and I make myself someone completely different? What if I make myself someone who doesn't even exist? The photos I'm going to show you now are from an AI network that generates fake people from existing photographs. They've analyzed the network has analyzed millions of photographs and can generate fake people. You can tell that it's really fake because the background just really doesn't work. In most of them, it repeats. But imagine what could happen if I then want to present myself and as a completely fake person. What would facial recognition do with a completely fake face? It doesn't exist. It has never existed. The face has never existed. And so now, let's get a better face here. Now, this is a good one. Now I can do things and present myself on chat. I can present myself through lots of different medium as a completely fake person that doesn't exist. I'm completely untraceable because the face is of a person that simply doesn't exist. Some faces are obviously better than others, and because it can animate them better than others. Oh, someone with a beard! Yay! I'll talk about the problem with beards later, and it was one of the reasons that started this whole talk, was the problem with deepfakes and beards. But you can see what's possible now, right? This is version 1. And I want you to remember that. As awesome as this is, as cool as this is version 1. Oh yeah, you want to defeat this? Yeah, ask the person to put their hand in front of their face. Yeah, the program is designed to deal with faces, not other things in the shot. All right, so I'm going to shut this one down. Any questions? Any questions about this? We have an anonymous LinkedIn user. Sorry, I don't see your name. Do I use this for awareness campaigns? The short answer is no. The long answer is because it's I want to be able to, when doing awareness campaigns and doing teaching, I want to be able to show the people what to do specifically next. I don't like awareness campaigns that are just fear, uncertainty, and doubt. I want to be able to present them with something real. And right now, although this is an emerging threat, it is not currently a major threat, right? We're not seeing this being used on a wide scale. So I don't want to cause fear, uncertainty, and doubt in an average person when they're not going to have a chance to exercise or make use of that knowledge right away. Right? If they're preparing for something that might happen in a year or 2 years down the line, I don't want to really introduce that right away. Especially in an awareness campaign, I want to provide that knowledge closer to when they're going to need it, right? As opposed to just causing them I don't want to freak them out, which is why I want to do this awareness campaign for the defenders and cybersecurity people, primarily because I want to prepare them. Right? Because they're not going to freak out so much. They're going to keep in the back of their head. They're going to keep an eye on it. They're going to look for that emerging threat and then know what to do when it happens. I don't like to freak an average person out. All right. So if that was version 1, what does version 2 look like? Now let's wait for this to come up here. Give me a second. Let's got some questions. Could signing a video by all the parties involved, be used as a proof of authenticity? It's a double-edged sword, nonsense. Sure, if signing something could work and could help, but you would then have to, that would have to be for something you would want to save as legitimate. The threats I'm seeing now are more about live, and we're talking about live communication where you want someone to do something right now. If you want to be able to certify that something was done was legitimate and intended, yeah, a signing process would definitely work on that sort of a thing. All right. Yes, Mafuz, you could explain away, technical difficulties as technical difficulties. Absolutely. And that's what people do. That's an easy thing to do. I was going to set up my entire video studio here so I could add in, bad connection, white noise to the video to try and hide some of this stuff. But I figured I want to show you it raw, because then you can imagine what would happen if there was other technical difficulties, right? You can just imagine, snow or something that's put in place. All right. All right. So what I'm going to show you now is what I call the cutting edge today. Now, I want to make it clear to everyone here. I want to make it really clear that what I'm going to show you is what's possible during a live stream. This isn't pre-recorded. This is live. I'm doing this live to you right now. What I have is Margot Robbie's photo. Actually, a variety of Margot Robbie photos. She is a movie actress. If you don't know who she is currently famous for her portrayal of Harley Quinn, famous villain in the DC Comics universe, Suicide Squad, Birds of Prey. And so she has a lot of photos of her right now. Now, the reason why I like her is that her face and mine, except for the beard, her face and mine are quite similar in terms of structure, in terms of eyes, and in terms of nose structure. Our bone structures are actually quite similar. So the computer can take that and work. Bruce Willis has such a round face and rounded features, and it doesn't work as well, for instance. Tom Cruise also has that, the Tom Cruise chin. I don't. Margot Robbie, coincidentally, just happens to work really, really well for me. Okay, so are you ready for this? I'm going to keep my face here. I'm going to keep Margot Robbie's face down there so you can compare, what you're looking at. And what I'm going to do now is I'm going to morph into a sort of Margot Robbie. I also want to provide this little disclaimer at the beginning. One of the things I have noticed, I've been dealing with all this stuff, so I'm all inured to it. I'm used to it all. I have seen people get some really, really weird emotional reactions to what I'm about to do next. Like psychologically, there's something inside people's head, in some people's heads, that just breaks. They can't handle it. So it's going to be weird. It's going to be freaky. And just let the cognitive freak out happen. I just want to assure you everything's okay. Everything's fine. All right. So you ready for this? All right. Here we go. So let's put my face here. Hello, lovely me. You will also see there's a slight delay for very obvious reasons. All right. You ready for this? All right. Here we go. Here is me as a bearded Margot Robbie. Now, this is a lot different than version 1, obviously, because what we're doing is we're stitching someone else's face onto mine through technology. And this means that we can do a lot of different things, right? Because, I've got hands, I've got all the rest of the scenery around me, and I can do stuff like turn my head. I can blink. I can move my eyebrows. Right? And I can present myself as someone else very, very easily. Depending upon the model, the model, not wrong model, the digital model. Depending upon the digital model, I can actually match the expressions that are recorded through digital photos to match my expressions so that it gets even more realistic and smoother. This is what's available this week. This is brand new, the ability to do this, right? And to do it this well. I've tried other faces. I've tried other digital models for this to work, and it doesn't work nearly as well as Margot Robbie. Apparently, Margot Robbie's my doppelganger. Who knew? So this is what we can do. So now, adding in a voice changer, right? Which is available and easy. You make a little soundboard. Add in a voice changer. If you want to make up for some of the technical difficulties, like the fact that the computer doesn't know how to quite handle blinking, so you add in some disturbance, you add in some noise, and you can really pull this off quite easily. All right. Any other questions? Oh, by the way, if like I said, some people freak out at this, so I can bring it back and I can crank it up. All right. If I crank it up too far, it hit the system has problem differentiating between my beard and my lips. If I crank it down just a little bit, if I tweak things a little bit, it allows my lips to come through, and it handles the beard a lot better. So like I said, in one of my LinkedIn posts, I am willing to do quite a lot and spend a lot of time and spend a lot of money on cybersecurity research. The line I found, which I was not going to cross, was shaving my beard for the purposes of cybersecurity research. So yeah, I'm sure if I shaved my beard, a lot of this would be easier. But hey, you get to see what happens when there is a beard. I'm not sure if I'm freaked or in love. Well, you have my LinkedIn profile. Anyway, no. Yeah, I must admit, some people can absolutely freak out. So you'll never watch Suicide Squad the same way. Yeah, me too. It's my face doing it. So as you can imagine, we have a lot of opportunities here. Now, what I want to, no live beard shaving. No, Greg, I'm not going to shave my beard live and try to train an AI model on my new face. I think my kid would freak out if she came home from school and my beard was gone. So what does this mean in terms of, you can just imagine if I called you up, if this face was your CEO, your boss, the police, like a legitimate police officer, right? Or an FBI, someone who you could look up and look at their face and say, yeah, that is that person. You can imagine the chaos that could ensue, right? You can absolutely imagine the types of problems that would happen. Now, this is present. Now, I want to show you where I think we can go next and where I think some of that inspiration will come from. And it's going to come from a weird place. All right, so just to ease the cognitive load, I'm going to put this back here and I'm going to shut this one down. And now this next one had a hiccup this morning just before. I want to see if it's going to be a problem. Yeah, it's going to be a problem. Just give me a minute here. Again, this is the grace I was hoping you'd give me right at the start. All right, let's bring this up a different way. There we go. Sorry for the delay. All right. That should, all my configs should have worked. Okay. There is a trend that is happening right now in YouTube land. So you have a lot of influencers, you have a lot of people in TikTok that are trying to make a name for themselves, and they're trying to get really, really popular with video content. One of the trends that's coming out of Japan right now is something called VTubing. VTube, virtual tubing, where you replace yourself with a digital version, an avatar that you put on top. So let's do this. Right. Okay, let's see if this worked. There we go. So what you can do is you can replace yourself with a digital version, and it tries to map your facial expressions. You can see I can wiggle my eyebrows. I've got long bangs because I'm so dreamy. I've got long bangs. So you can see the eyebrows. It matches my mouth pretty well, and it matches my eyes. But the other thing to notice here is the hair. You will notice Jordan's VTube channel is launching when? Actually, kind of soon. So one of the things you'll notice here is the fact that we can then animate a 3D model. This is a complete 3D model. And we can animate things like hair. Now, I don't have the extra motion capture equipment, which would allow me to map the arms, legs, and fingers, individual finger articulation, by the way. That hasn't arrived in time. So we could actually animate a full 3D model of someone. Now, you're looking at this right now, the VTube community is all about anime, right? Because the people who want it and the people who are demanding it are anime fans, and they want to become an anime character, or they want to anime themselves. Okay, fair enough. But if you remember the progression of video games started off all cartoonish and unreal, but slowly over time they started mapping real 3D images on top of the 3D models in game. So now imagine taking what I showed you before, taking that Margot Robbie thing, take that and now map Margot Robbie's body over a 3D model, hook up the motion capture with full articulation for face and eyes and lips and tongue. Is it working on this one? No. I mean, full anatomical articulation, right? Now we can not just, I can have Margot Robbie's body as well, right? So I can then, when that comes, that's not here yet. We haven't done that yet, but look for that in the coming year, 18 months. Someone's going to want to do that. Someone's going to want to figure that out. VTubing is progressing really, really fast as people are starting to use it. And other people are starting to get in on this as well. So this VTubing thing is advancing rapidly. So it doesn't apply yet, but my prediction for the future is that it's going to really, really, really soon. Match that to a deepfake, and you have something really serious that then goes on. All right. Now, I want to take you to the last piece here. Just bear with me for a second. This is going to take some time. Oh, I see an ABBA reference. And yes, thank you for bringing up ABBA. Isn't this similar? Mark says, isn't this similar to what ABBA has announced for the comeback tour? Absolutely.
Hi, John. There's just an issue with your microphone at the moment. It seems to have cleared up now.
Am I back?
Yep, you're good.
Awesome. Yeah, so some of the technology I'm using also wants to capture my mic, and so there can be some mic issues. So yes, Mark, it's extremely similar to what ABBA's wanting to do. And ABBA's comeback tour has, a team of thousands, tens of thousands, if I remember that documentary right, teams of tens of thousands, and large studios and large cameras. But that technology, I'm telling you right now, that technology is advancing so fast that if you can reduce it down to just a single camera perspective, because ABBA wants to do multi-camera perspectives, you can reduce it down to a single camera perspective. We're very, very, very close to being in the hands of average everyday people, right? To be able to do that. All right, so now let me bring this next one up, last one up, promise. There we go. Just testing the motion capture here. Yep, we're good. And let's see if this works. Yep, there we go. Hi. So this is sort of the next step for what I showed you previously. And the motion capture I have for this one, like I said, I don't have the full, here we go. I don't have the full capability right now, but just using its initial capabilities, we can do quite a lot. The other thing we can do is it's a 3D model, just like a game. So we can do things like pre-animate or pre-prescribe certain actions, right? And because of that, we can then make up for a lot of inabilities within the 3D model. We can prescribe, we can script certain actions and have people do things the way they want to do. And like I said, it's a full 3D model. So yeah, we can represent ourselves in 3D space, and we can represent ourselves as completely different in 3D space. Now, this particular thing that I'm showing you here, his name's Barry. This is Barry from Barrier, and you will be seeing a little bit more of Barry on LinkedIn over the next year. Because we actually want to take advantage of some of this technology to be able to do different types of presentations and different types of conversations with people. And this will evolve, and I will evolve this as the technology also improves. So this is the, let's say goodbye to Barry just for a second. This is what we are looking at as a capability in terms of deepfakes. So showed you version 1, which is animating a photograph or animating AI created images of people. The current version is to be able to stitch someone else's digital face onto yours live with full articulation and what that means. And then what we're looking at is what's happening next, which is taking a full 3D model. And welcome to the Cyber Launchpad. Take a full 3D model, apply deepfake to that, and then manipulate a full 3D digital model as a replacement. So we're looking at some pretty serious threats coming down the line that, yeah, we are going to have to prepare our staff for and ourselves for in terms of the coming threat and what that's going to look like, and what's actually going to happen. Right now, the business email compromise attack, please send money to here. Please change. Oh yeah, there's the other one I want to mention. Please change where my salary goes. I don't know if you've run across these attacks. So business account compromise, business email compromise is typically, please send this money to this bank account because they're a vendor or supplier and we're behind and it's really serious. You need to send that money right now, right? That's the one type. The other type is, hi, I'm your employee. I've changed my bank account. Can you please change the bank account information where you deposit my salary check to this other location, right? So now imagine that we can do that over video, right? I compromise the staff member's account. I go on video, I stitch their face on and say, hey, yeah, this is me. Can you please do this? And that's going to require some thought on the company's part as to how you want to handle that, because it's no longer an email, it's no longer impersonal. It seems so personal, right? You're right there. How can that not be who I'm looking at? And especially if you can look up in the company directory and there's their photo, right? And you can see that that's actually there. So so let's let's open up some questions. I don't have any other technology to show you. Hopefully that was interesting. Hopefully that was really cool. I had a lot of fun putting that together. So please let me know if that was interesting, or if you want to know more, because there's lots of other stuff that I could do. Not today, not prepared for a lot more today. If there's other stuff you would want to see from this type of effect and this type of thing, please put it in the chat, and I can talk about what we could do and maybe do a follow-up on some of these other things. So Greg asks, how much of the DIY stuff is going to work well enough for a threat actor to use? How do I answer that? It's good enough now. It's absolutely good enough now to use. You need to be able to get enough photographs to be able to build a digital model. Doesn't take much, especially with social media. You stitch together all these things. Yeah, no problem. I'd like to see if I could take a random person, take all of their photographs on social media and see if I could do that. I don't know if I have a lot of time. That does take some time to work on that. But absolutely, it's perfectly possible to be happening right now. It just isn't right now. So like I said, it's an emerging threat. It's possible, just not seeing it live at the moment. But I believe it's going to be happening pretty soon. Sounds like it's potential to wreck people's lives. Absolutely. I mean, already being able to change where your salary goes, your monthly paycheck, where that goes, that absolutely destroys lives. I mean, just missing one paycheck for some people is devastating, even if it's a delay for a week and people try to sort it out and try to fix it. For some people, that delay is enough to completely ruin their lives. So yeah, that's hugely impactful. Unwary or elderly, absolutely. If the unwary or elderly are having trouble or trusting too much with their eyes in what they're seeing, and they they don't have other processes to ensure and make sure that things are way that they're supposed to be. Yep, absolutely. I my imagination goes in a lot of different places trying to talk about security awareness about deep fakes like this to the elderly. That's a big topic to try and tackle. So that'll be an interesting conversation, I'm sure, that we'll have as a security community pretty soon. Great stuff, Jordan. Thanks a lot. Thanks for commenting. Questions for Jordan. What do you think would be the most suitable countermeasures for the emerging and potentially widespread deepfake video spoofing threat? For pre-recorded video, there are tests you can do. You have time in a pre-recorded video, right? There are tests you can do to look for the fact that it's been deep-faked. There's analysis that goes in the eyes. They're like programs that are already written. You can run and you can determine the likelihood of it being deep-faked. That's our debt. The live stuff, like I said, you're looking at the current version. Putting hands in front of your face can kill it, right? Can absolutely kill it. The other thing you can get them to do is simply to swivel in their chair, right? That'll also be the one way. The computer can't handle it. The computer has parameters. If you exceed those parameters, it's obvious that something's gone wrong. So some of these other things that you can do, primarily, and this is for business email compromise and for the salary social engineering, is to make sure you don't trust this, right? Make sure you have separate channels of verification before doing something that's going to be impactful. It's going to have a financial impact or whatever, right? So we can talk like this. You can have conversations like this, but to actually commit to doing something that's going to cost money or redirect money or impact someone's lives, have a separate channel of verification. This is true for business email compromise and any other type of social engineering. You want to have that separate channel and don't trust exactly what's in front of you. So this makes things more complicated, and this makes things more convincing for sure, but you need to have that other channel just as a general principle, so that you're not just trusting the one channel. Will this webinar be available? I'll toss that over to Adam.
Yeah, of course. Oscar is about to link the YouTube channel, so it should be on there by the end of the day. I actually had a quick question, Jordan, for you. So you mentioned earlier to me, or the other day rather, that you needed quite the rig to do this at the moment. So it's obviously not in the hands of everyone, and I couldn't do it on my end with just the laptop. At what point do you think that it could be possible from maybe a laptop or even a phone, and obviously the implications of that are people calling friends and family and causing disruption there?
So that becomes a matter of hardware, right? And as you know, computer hardware is constantly evolving, and my setup has a pretty hefty GPU setup, right? I'm using quite a lot of video processing technology that I'm using, tons of GPUs. I don't know if you could hear it through my mic, but during the Margot Robbie bit, it sounded like my computer was about to take off and fly through the window. It was just absolutely, it was really, really loud in here. So yes, there is a hardware component, which is right now a limiting factor, but I didn't pay, tens of thousands of pounds in order to get this computer. This is a commercially purchased desktop computer with GPU. Now, if you go to something like Razer computers that have specialized GPUs, external GPUs, things you can add on, then you become, that lowers that barrier to entry to be able to do that. When is it going to be possible in phones? That's a bigger issue. That's going to be that's a matter of determining when the GPU capability curve is going to rise enough on a phone. It will get there. Without a doubt, it will get there. I don't think we're going to be there in the next couple of years, but it will absolutely get there. But if I can buy commercial off-the-shelf parts and put together a really beefy GPU rig, then yeah, it's in the hands of essentially anybody. So Mafuz says, don't trust Jordan. He might be a deep fake of himself. I love the way you think. I have a Dungeons and Dragons character that uses deepfakes actually, and actually is a deepfake of himself anyway. But if you want to, if look at the shadows, look at the eyes. Yeah, this is me. A new meaning. Mark says a new meaning to two-factor authentication, or even three. Yeah, I mean, if you are authenticating into something, allowing access, zero trust, right? If you look at the zero trust model, the principle of zero trust, it's about multiple different factors all aligning to make sure that things are what they appear to be. So yeah, we're talking not just three-factor authentication. We're talking a dozen of different factors to make sure that what you're looking at and what you're dealing with and what you're deciding to act on is actually real. And that's absolutely true. Roll 4, metaphor. Unfortunately, I'm not sure about the metaphor, all of the details there, so I can't comment on that right now. I'll definitely look into it and get a better sense there. Yeah, so yeah, my profile pic is actually kind of old, so I need to update it. So yeah, we all represent ourselves differently at different points in our lives and in different stages in our lives anyway, right? So that cloud of identity that each of us has, right, needs to be taken into account. And we can't have a single visual identity that we present to the world. We change, right? We're different people to different people at different times, even during the day. We're different to our family as we are to coworkers, and different to the people out there in the world on LinkedIn as well.
So Marcus, right. I think it was Marcus who mentioned earlier, we can just got this time for one last question. He asked about the current implications of hiring remotely with this technology being out there. You know, so many jobs now, there is no office. You're never going to go in, so there's never a risk of that. You know, is that something that we're starting to see yet, or will see over the next year potentially?
Because of what we already know, all of the shenanigans that have been made public over the past, couple years anyway, of what people have done to make it look like that they're somewhere they're not, or they're someone else that they're not. Yeah, it was not going to take much for someone to hire a third party, hook them up with a rig, or even have a deep fake center where you have outsourced people doing your work for you, and they have the deep fake technology baked into their service. So yeah, they walk into they log into a Teams meeting, right, and they're you, right, and they're taking notes and doing things and doing whatever. That's not outside the realm of possibility at all. Like, I love their thinking, Mark. I actually want to try and do that because I believe that could be possible right now today. Absolutely. So the possibility is there. The question is, how then do you combat that? Well, you shouldn't be hiring based on just what you can see in their face anyway. You need to have other methods, other channels of confirming identity, authenticity as to whether or not they're there. You can't trust your eyes, especially anything coming over video anyway, right? So in terms of your remote working, absolutely. I now want to try it. I want to hire somebody to walk into a meeting of mine, right, at Barrier, right, and see if anyone notices, and see if we can actually get that to work. I love that. I love that challenge now. Thank you, Mark. It's got my imagination going, to see whether or not that's going to be an issue, because you already have access. You grant someone else that access, and they can do whatever they want and do your work for you. I'm all about efficiency and productivity and making sure we can get my work done, right? West Point's a recruiting agency. So yes, we can absolutely got a whole cloud of people sitting right here beside me who I could tap into to do my work for me. Anyway, I'm kidding. Yeah, I've really enjoyed this. I really enjoyed preparing for this. I really enjoyed putting all this together for you all. And thank you very much for inviting me to talk about this. And it sounds like there's some more conversation to be had around this. And so I'm very interested to push this conversation further and take it to the next chapter.
Yeah, of course. Thanks so much for coming on. The preparation is, you can see that in the results. It was insane to watch. I've got other people around me in the office here, and they were laughing as various faces popped up. And it's also very interesting to talk, not just to see it, but to talk about the implications too. And absolutely, we'd have you back on anytime for more various deepfake shenanigans. So we'll definitely let everyone know when that's about to happen. So that's it from us today. Huge thanks to everyone who asked a question, everyone who watched, and of course, everyone who watches this later on YouTube. Massive thanks to Jordan for his time and his computer technology and everything there. Yeah, but other than that, thank you, everyone, and have a great day.
Thanks very much.